You look like you're going to fall asleep.
And I'm really tired.
Have some water. We've got another 20 minutes or so.
Okay. Does your ears start to hurt after a while?
No.
Okay.
Are they hurting?
No, it's just my ears feel like they've been folded. Like
No.
it's in the sockets, but it just...
It's in the socket.
Yeah,
Just maybe adjust the side of it. It should be okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Ready?
Yes. Let's go.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and welcome to the Minimalistic Muslim Podcast. This is your host Faisal Rahman, and with me is
Your co-host Iman Rahman.
Iman.
Yes.
How's it going?
It's going good. Busy week, I guess. Yeah, you?
I don't know. It's been a bit of a struggle for me, to be honest, because I was kind of reviewing the previous episodes, and I'm like, I haven't churned one out.
No, what do you mean by that?
Like, because every couple of weeks I like to put one out there.
Yeah.
And because you've had the new year, and this is the first episode in Jan, it's been a bit of a struggle. I don't know if struggle is the right word, because I've had so much on my plate, like with work and with the home ed, that I've not been able to focus on trying to get an episode up. And so what I didn't want to do is just upload one for the sake of uploading one.
Right, you need meaning and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise I don't think I'm doing justice to myself or pretty much the listeners. It's no point. Yeah. And so I thought, you know what, I'll take a bit of time away and just refresh and see when I'll get a bit of time. I'll put pen to paper and kind of come up with something that I think is worthy of conversation. But other than that, how's things been with yourself?
Yeah, so busy in the sense as, with Abdurrahman doing his, studying and stuff, his teaching. I think he's like, I'm getting better at it, I guess, because then obviously you learn every lesson you do with someone, right?
Yeah.
And because he's a child, you have to think like a child.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's not easy,
Yeah, but you know what it is? Remember, I think I've said this before, where like I've spent a lot of time with kids anyway, so I know like the gist of how they work.
Yeah.
And so when I'm like talking to him and like teaching him, I feel like, obviously you have your off days, which gets tiring and that kind of stuff, and makes the days feel so long. But other than that, I feel like it's been busy, but it's a good busy. Like, it's not too busy, but it's like a productive week, I guess.
Good.
But yeah, it's good.
But it's been a few weeks since we've hit the mic again.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, and so it's good to be back on, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
We've kicked off 2020 now, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
Where did that come from? So 2020, new year, new decade, possibly a new you. Why do you always hear people say that?
New Year resolutions.
You what?
New Year resolutions, isn't it?
New Year's resolutions.
I've actually never done one before.
Okay.
I've just, you know what it is? Because every one is almost similar to the other. You're just very like, improve yourself, change your bad habits.
Do you know what? This is what I was going to say. So when I said, why do people always say this? Is because it's like every year, well, no, we're now into January, but at the beginning of the year, the same thing or the same message you start to see the billboards of the gym.
Yeah.
Okay. So now everyone's trying to think, okay, I'm going to lose weight now. Someone's going to say, you're going to get people like, I'm going to start this diet. I want to cut this out. All right. But every year it seems to be the same thing, the same message that's being given and the same kind of results that it almost like what you said. I don't know what you said.
Like,
you don't do it now because it's like, what?
What's the difference?
Right. Yeah, no, but we're going to come to that because statistically, did you know that only 9.2% of people actually achieve the New Year's resolutions?
That's a very low number.
I need a tumbleweed. 9.2% of people who keep New Year's resolutions actually stick to it.
They're very good. They're very, very good.
All right. So they're good. But the thing is, why is it that the majority of people fail? They're actually set up to fail in my eyes.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, all this stuff that you see, that people are telling you.
Is it because you can't just start straight away? Just all of a sudden, because you're not used to it, obviously. So let's say you took like the gym example.
Yeah.
Some people say, okay, I'm going to start every week, twice a week. I'm going to go to the gym.
Yeah.
And then maybe for the first 2 weeks, you're really like competent about it. And then after that, you just start to, go down. Then you just give up. All right, fine, just leave it, do it for next year or something.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe because you're not used to it or you're just putting yourself in there, is that you're just, you get tired or run down really easily, I guess.
You're on the right track. You pretty much said it. But the reason why they would fail is because it's like anything in life. A lot of people need to feel motivated and inspired to do something.
Mm-hmm.
The motivation for most of the people who set New Year's resolutions is that it's a new year. So I've got to make this year different. It's for some strange, reason, psychologically, it's done every year. And they say these things to themselves, right? You can take a bit of tongue in cheek, it's a bit of humor, it's a bit of a joke, but the statistics, like they said, that people who actually go out to do these things actually set up to fail because of what you were saying. So, okay, yeah, you're motivated to go to the gym because the gym membership has come down, for example, and you're like, all right, I want to get into shape. But because you haven't done it before and you go full throttle, you go fully into it that, you know what, I'm going to give myself 1 month. In 1 month, I'm going to get the shape I want, the look I want, and all of that. And you realize how hard of a struggle it is, because if I just take the gym as an example, you can spend all the time that you have in the gym, but if you are not eating correctly, you will not see the results. Right? So, but people think, all right, I'll just shed a few calories or I'll do this, and they'll go back and carry the same diet, for example, or they'll be very good for a couple of weeks and then they'll have a cheat day and then they'll fall back into bad habits. And it's because of that lack of discipline that they have actually set themselves up for failure. Because what's not to say that when you do something, you should just start it when you think I need to start it. I need to do something, I've got to do it. I've got to start somewhere. And the fact is that everyone wants to start it on the 1st of January. It's like, it's that's what I said, it's doomed to fail. So whenever something comes your way and you want to actually do something, you've got to start. You shouldn't and this is where like, the mindset comes from. If you want to achieve something, you do it there and then. You don't need to look for tomorrow, because we have all heard that saying, tomorrow never comes. All right. There's an opportunity now, avail it, do what you can and do with it. And the thing is, you got to be realistic with what you want to do. So for example, again, with the gym example, you would find that people want to lose weight, but they will give themselves a time bracket to say, I want to do it within this period in time. But in my experience, whatever you want to do, whether it's eating good, because everyone wants to do the same thing, eat good or go to the gym. It's the consistency that you've got to have behind it, which will achieve the results. What do you think?
Yeah, consistency is key.
And the thing is, you're never going to make a dramatic shift in one night or in a week.
That's true. It takes time.
It's that time. It's that slog. It's that hard grind where you're thinking, I'm not seeing the results, but you're persevering and you're doing it and you're doing it and you're doing it. And eventually down the line, you'll see what you want. Whether you've lost your way or whatever it is that you've achieved, it's through hard work. And it's like that which enables you to create habits and possibly a system of achieving anything, anytime, if you've got that kind of an attitude. But more importantly, anything you want to do is the small changes that are achievable, and that's what you should look for. Not the end goal. Like obviously you'll have like, I want to achieve this, but you've got to take the steps, not the run, not the overnight. It's the steps, and it's that slog which unfortunately knocks a lot of people out. So I find generally, and I've often found out, people who set themselves up, and it doesn't have to be New Year's resolution, it could be anything that they want to do, but because they have such a high, they've raised the bar, which is brilliant. I'm not saying you shouldn't raise the bar, but you haven't done anything to work towards it. It's like, for example,
preparation, you mean?
Yeah. So it's for example, like I want to start a marathon.
Right.
And I've done no training or prepared myself for it, and I just do the marathon. I'm bound to injure myself. Or I'm going to do the 100 meters and I haven't stretched and I just run. I'm not going to be in the same boat and just, you're not going to get anything without the preparation or the small. So even like, when you go to the gym, you're always told to warm up before you hit your exercises. You can't just go into something and think, I'm going to do this because I want to do this. You've got to be realistic, and your targets have to be achievable. And don't look at the end goal as saying that's what I want to achieve now. It's I need this and I need to slog at this and eventually I'll get there. But like I said, when I started this, it comes down to discipline, hard work, and a positive, and I would say a productive and mature mindset to realize that, you have the power to achieve what you want to achieve, knowing yourself, but then going out and being realistic with what it is that you want to do, and start that from whenever that time is.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be the 1st of Jan or whatever it is. Yeah. That kind of leads me nicely onto
The topic for today?
the topic of today, which is to do with work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what that means? Work
How you work,
ethic.
I'm guessing.
Well, yeah. I mean, the
way
thing
you
is that work. The thing is, if I break it down for you, right? What work, if you look it up, okay, is I'll give you the definition. Right, basically, it says work is an activity involving mental or physical effort done to achieve a purpose or result. Okay, so I'll say that again. So, work is an activity involving mental or physical effort done to achieve a purpose or result. Ethic, if you look it up, I think it's from a Greek word which means science of morals.
Right.
All right. But you may say, what is the science of morals?
Yeah.
All right. So we have to then break that even down and say, well, what is morals? So morals is a person's standard of behavior or beliefs concerning what is and is not acceptable for them to do.
Okay.
So again, this is quite a lot to take in and to understand, but
Right.
you'll see where I'm going with this. I'll say it again. So morals is a person's standard of behavior or beliefs concerning what is and is not acceptable for them to do. So the question is, we're saying that work is an activity that you do, all right,
Yeah.
which is, could either be mental or physical, and there's a purpose behind that, all right?
Mhm.
You want to achieve a purpose, whether it's monetary, whether it's some satisfaction that you're doing it, okay? But alongside that, with the ethical part is states of behavior that are acceptable to you. So each person or group of people will have a different set of, you can say, morals. What's acceptable to me may not be acceptable to you or to somebody else.
Right.
All right. So it's important to first and foremost understand your own self. And I think I've said this before, that it's very important to know yourself. So that way you don't fall into this category of comparison. You don't look at the next person and think, well, he's done it, so I can do it. You've got to look at yourself and think, again, if I give you the runner's example, could I just sit 100 meters and just say, well, because Usain Bolt can do it in so many seconds, I can do it as well. You know, it'd be quite naive of me to do that. You know, through training, I may, and some natural talent of running, then I may have some ability, but just to think naive and think I can do it because he can do it is sometimes a naive way of looking at life. I think it's important to understand your skill set and to understand what it is that you can bring to the table. So like I said, it's a standard that you have of anything. So it could be work related. It could be a set of beliefs. But the flip side of that is, and the reason I'm saying this is because, we live in a time where I feel that a lot of people don't really have good work ethics. All right. I mean, people do, but I'm saying that you're seeing a lot of people nowadays who like to take shortcuts, let's say. All right.
Okay.
Or they have certain characteristics which could be considered bad work ethics. So, for example, in my opinion, one of the things as an employer, like for me, when I look at taking someone on board or doing work with someone, there'll be a certain skill set which would tell me and define to me that what this person's about. How serious are they? Okay. One of the things that I look about is, or one of the things I look at is punctuality.
Right.
What is time? What is the value that you place on time? I absolutely annoys me when I'm having to meet people and the time's been agreed.
And they're late.
And they're late. And they're not late by 5-10 minutes. They are late,
Right, yeah.
And I have a friend who will probably know who he is.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm not going to mention their names. But I have a dear brother, and unfortunately, he has this problem. The funny thing is, he knows he has this problem. All right.
Right.
But as I say to him, it's one thing knowing you have a problem, is another thing doing something about it.
Yeah.
And that's where real change comes from. So I find that, we live in a time where people can say, yeah, I'll be there. And that value that's placed on time, which I was brought up with, or what I feel that I've placed on time, a lot of people struggle with. What do you think about that? Do you agree?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, I see that.
Punctuality is quite, when you, about work ethics, a lot of people actually like, you know, that with mum as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's very like late kind of, and yeah, it does kind of annoy. Like it annoys me as well, actually, and I know it annoys my sister a lot as well, because she's quite like.
Do you know what? Without dropping name bombs,
right? Yeah.
I think one of the things that I see, with people that aren't punctual, is the way I read it.
Yeah.
It's my interpretation, my belief. It's a lack of respect for yourself and the other person.
Okay.
Someone's taken the time out to meet you at a certain time. For you not to show up on time is a lack of respect on your part. But as an individual, it's a lack of respect because you don't really respect certain values that should be respected, and therefore put up a persona of someone who's, not reliable.
All right.
Because if someone's not punctual, straight away you think to yourself, that person's not reliable.
Yeah, you're doing it to yourself, basically.
Yeah. So it's sometimes these self-fulfilling prophecies which people do upon themselves, like you said, where they mean well, but they're always arriving late at the party, at the meeting, and there's an excuse for everything, and it's just like, it's not working. Yeah. The other thing is, I find, especially within just generally with how people are being brought up, there's a lot more laziness. There's a lot of excuse for being lazy. That again, I'm talking from like a business employer type of perspective, that you think that, do people really take pride in their work, right? And or do they take pride in anything that they do? Because it always seems to be complaints. I can't do this because of that, and that's where the lazy behavior comes from. You can guarantee that where you see people complaining. What was that about? You can almost guarantee that where you see people complaining, there's going to be an attitude of laziness, and that absolutely just winds me up.
Right.
Yeah. So the thing is, for myself, I believe heavily. I mean, I have a set of practices that I use when I work and when I interact with people, and my purpose in achieving what it is that I set for myself is to practice what I preach. So if I'm going to do something or expect someone to do something, I would first do it to myself. All right. So and that's including time. So for example, I've set up a meeting. I'm generally the kind of person that if I'm not there on time, I get itchy feet. Like it starts annoying me. Like, why am I late?
Okay.
And it could not be it's quite reasonable to say sometimes that you can get held up in traffic. Or something, life throws a curveball at you and something happens. Yeah. But in those given opportunities, we all have mobile phones.
Right. Yeah,
so we can always communicate with one another. Listen, I'm running a bit late. I'm here, I'm there, whatever it is. But sometimes, like I said, life does throw you some curveballs, but you just got to deal with it in the best way you possibly can.
Yeah.
As long as you're always going to get exceptions. You're not going to go through life and not have any problems. But it's how you deal with that and how you make yourself and others feel. That is, to me, quite a big thing. Yeah. So, like I said, I thought about this topic because I'm thinking that, it's the start of a new decade, a new year, however you see it. And people often make promises to themselves, and they're often left to fail. They're set up to fail because of certain disciplines that you can correct at any time in your life. It doesn't have to be, like I said, the 1st of January. It could be right here, right now. You stop to do certain things and you adopt a better habit, which then becomes a lifestyle. That's the interesting thing. Like how, as Muslims, we, you've got Salah involved in your life. So like clockwork, right? It's time for Salah. And that should, I'm not saying it does, it should revolve around your life. So that I've got my Salah done, and then you can take 5-minute break out, and then you do your Salah, and then you carry on with your work. All right. But when you adopt these little disciplines, they become part of your life. They become part of who you are. So people would, not only people, but you yourself would know that, listen, if I'm the kind of person that is disciplined enough, like I'll give an example. Right now, you could go on the internet and you could find movie stars, celebrities, sports people,
Famous people, basically.
Famous people who would then, and you can look at their sort of work ethic. What is it that sets them apart from the rest? And you will see a pattern. All right. And I'm not saying this is done for publicity. Some people, you know, they are known to be seen to be doing something. So for example, The Rock, they say that, listen, if he's doing a movie at 7, he's in the gym at 5 in the morning. Then you're thinking, well, if he's in the gym at 5 in the morning, what time does he sleep? What time's he getting up?
Yeah.
You know, and then this becomes part of their lifestyle, that they're always doing something. They're always, like they say, the first one in and the last one out. You know, Ronaldo's another one I hear about, that, you know, he's always before everybody else doing it, you know, but he set his mark in terms of football and the discipline that he brings to that game. It's not just a matter of I turn up, I kick a ball and off I go. It's like I put in the effort and I'm the last one out. And this is, and then, you know, people look at this and become inspired. This, you know, remember I said they need to be motivated, inspired.
Yeah.
So they come out thinking, you know what? Yes, I'm going to turn over a new leaf and I'm going to magically come out of my bed and everything I'm going to have in order, you know, and I'm going to start my day like this. I'm going to have my jungle juice in the morning and then I'm going to hit the gym and I'm going to open my laptop and do my work, and then everything's going to go nicely. All right. And it may do for a couple of weeks, but you will hit a plateau where you've had a cheat day or there's some problems happen and you're thinking, now that time is the time which tells you, you know, do you give into your bad habits or do you push and move forward? All right. And that's why sometimes I think that people need to kind of look back and reflect on themselves and think, you know what, we're not perfect, but we need to achieve to be better than what we are on a daily basis. You know, I promise myself, and, you know, your mum knows this about me, that I will often say that I'm not the same person I was last year or a few years ago. I'm always looking at kind of making myself, making myself better. Right? How can I better this? How can I do this? How can I add this skill to myself? And I look at any opportunity given to me in a way to say, okay, how can I, you know, I'll try a lot of things, but then I may say, yeah, I like that, and I'll continue.
For me,
and there may be times where I'll be like, you know what, I'm not feeling that. All right.
Yeah.
But to do it in small chunks is important. Don't throw, I'm not the kind of person that throws myself into things.
Don't go overboard, basically.
Even with, like I was saying to you with the podcasting, I was getting a bit annoyed with myself, because like, you know, I think it's been, you know, I need to release an episode.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I could have, but then like I said, I would have just put something out, which I don't feel that I would have been proud of. I would have maybe put in the time with the effort or the amount of time to think about what do I want to talk about, and just put it out there for the numbers, which wouldn't be fair. So it's to look at doing something that you know that you're proud of, and you have set a standard. All right. Yeah. You know, the funny thing is, subhanAllah, the same friend I said to you with the bad time management, he said something. Well, he has this habit, which is an amazing habit, and that is that whenever you do something, you do it because it's the standard you set. You don't do it because someone's expected that from you. So whenever, for example, we're a service industry, right? So I give a service. Yeah. I don't do it. I don't give the service based on who I'm approaching. I have a general level of service that I feel is at a bar, and I do that because that's the standard I have put for myself. So I'll be professional or the way I am, no matter who comes my way in terms of work wise. I don't look at what kind of revenue you're bringing in. Do you see? And therefore that defines you as a person as well. So in the business world, then you're known to say, right, this person has this kind of a standard. Do you see? Yeah,
and that basically grows your reputation at the same time, doesn't it?
100%. Yeah, and you know what, the thing you just said about reputation, I believe it's I believe that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that if you want to know a person, like it was almost like ask the people in the community about that person.
Oh, okay.
Homing into the reputation. What's this person like? All right. And that in itself speaks volumes, because you may be able to be good to one person. You may have a favorite person that you're always there for, but are you known to just be a selfless person? You know, are you there to help people without looking what's in it for me? And all these other aspects which comes under reputation. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, look, like I said, when I spoke about work ethic, it means different things to different people. You know, work ethic at the time of your granddad or your grandma, that generation,
Yeah.
was the fact that, you know, they would go in early in the morning to work and they'll come late at night. And that's how it was, 5, 6, 7 days a week. All right.
Yeah.
And they would spend a very little amount of time with their children, not because they wanted to, it's because to them that's what it was about. You go and you wake up in the morning, you go for work, you spend your time, then you come back, and that's how it was. All right.
Yeah.
When you look at work now, it's changed significantly.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see? I mean, you're not in employment,
yeah.
but how do you see work? When you look at working, how do you read into it? Can
like
you imagine yourself
Yeah.
waking up at 6, 7 in the morning, coming back at 6, 7 at night,
No.
and then then I don't know.
Probably not.
What you know? So
I mean, I think the big difference is that people are actually, working from home now. I don't think that was a thing back then, or maybe very few people used to do that. So working from home, a lot of people are like being self-conscious about themselves, spending time with their family more now.
Yeah.
That balance, which is a good thing. Don't know.
No, you're right. Basically, what it is people want the best of both.
Yeah.
They don't want to work the hours that maybe my parents worked or are working. They want to be smarter with the way they spend their time.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting a lot of, again, you only have to surf the web and you'll find ways, how to create this, and you can make money sleeping, and this could happen here and that could happen there. And a lot of people like that kind of style of work. It's not my position to say whether that's right or wrong, but the thing is, you're not going to create an Apple. You're not going to create a massive blue chip company working from your bedroom, for example. Yeah.
Right.
Or if you're in a position where you're creating, then you need to upscale and make yourself bigger. That's if you want that.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not here saying that, some people may be there thinking, listen, I want to be the next Steve Jobs. In which case, yes, everyone started off in the garage. Yeah. You get a lot of these stories. I don't know. It was, I don't know if it was Steve Jobs started off in a garage. I don't know. Mark Zuckerberg started off in his dormitory with Facebook. You had Bill Gates started in a garage as well. Mm-hmm. But they're not in a garage right now. They had to go to Silicon Valley. They had to go and upscale and employ people and make bigger. So that comes with the challenges of business and entrepreneurship. But having said that, someone may be happy thinking, you know what? I want to make a bit of money, but I value time spent with my family, my friends, myself. In which case it gives me time to work on myself. My deen gives me the time to, maybe I want to study Arabic, or learn something in the religion. These are then opportunities in terms of how you value time and value yourself. Yeah. So again, it's a personal thing. So when we broke down the word work ethic, it means things to different people, right? So some people are happy doing that, some people aren't, and it's for everyone to work out themselves in terms of what value they bring to themselves and what value they can give to others. Yeah. The thing is, you said something even on the onset, and that was when you was talking about the home education, and you're like, I'm beginning to realize this, and I'm beginning to learn that, and this, that, and the other. That in a form is work ethic. So, for example, look, like we said, we've been busy with the home education. I mean, it's been a few months we haven't actually worked on yourself, but definitely with your brother and your sister. But when you look at how you are teaching your siblings, you have a choice. You can sit there and do something half-heartedly, just for him to do, an activity for him to do, or you can invest in him, but in doing so, you have to put in the hours. Yeah. So you're going to have to, I don't know, lesson plan and say, okay, what am I going to do tomorrow? I'm doing this with him. I want him to achieve this. You're constantly planning, all right? Yeah. And this is part of work ethic. You are not cutting a corner to say that, you know what, I'll just do, I don't know.
Just do something and not really
do something, look busy, and I'm happy, I can do something. And you know what? You take it seriously, all right? And alhamdulillah. And I think that is at an age where you're at is a very good quality to grow up in and adopt and to chisel at. So, so every time you're given an opportunity, you never look at the shortcut. You look at ethics, what's important, what's my standard of behavior, what is acceptable to me.
Yeah.
And sometimes you may be presented in life to take shortcuts. They do come your way.
Yeah.
But it's to withhold yourself and say, because we're going to come to the Islamic side in terms of what our religion asks of us. But just generally, when we look at people, you can set them apart with how disciplined they are, how what their set of beliefs are, what they find acceptable. So I was watching this. I think it's this video on Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think he's just released one of his movies. Okay.
Oh.
And
Okay.
he was and they do this question and answer session, and some person wrote a question that, I don't get enough time to go to this gym. Can you give me some advice? And he's just like, are you serious? He goes, you sleep 8 hours of the day, probably work 8 hours, you probably work 8-9 hours. So you've got 9 hours left or something, yeah?
Yeah.
And then, but what excuses are you giving yourself to not go to the gym? So someone like that doesn't understand, because you're thinking, what are you filling your time with? Binge watching? What are you doing? And it's that, but then it comes back to what I was saying, the laziness. Do you procrastinate? Yeah. Are you sitting there thinking, oh, I'll just do it, and you're putting it off and you're putting it off and you're putting it off? Or are you the person that's, and like I said, or you the one that's saying, you know what? No, I've got to pull my socks up. I've got to sort this out, and I'm going to do it now. And I'm not telling you to do something overly ambitious and sit there and say, change this by that time.
Yeah.
Give yourself reasonable deadlines. Look, the reason I said about Abdul Rahman, is because it's the gradual progression that you're seeing. That even now you're saying, look, when we started a year ago, where was he and where is he now? Yeah, the same thing could be said about your sister. Where were they? And it's that gradual progression. If you know you're seeing that, that's satisfaction in itself. But it's chiseling at your idea of what's acceptable. So your brother can say to you, oh, I'm not feeling it. Oh, I don't want to do this. But if you keep at it, that discipline, you're now teaching him to keep at it. Don't worry, we're nearly through it. Do you see? And it's that thing which is very important, right? So I think we've kind of spoken a bit about generally what work ethics are, how people should view them, how we could make ourselves better in the way we address things, and not put things off till tomorrow and start making differences from today. It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
I admit that. I know that. I see that. But the thing is, you have to be serious. You have to be disciplined. You have to want it to say, I need to make that difference. What am I doing this for? It's like when I was saying to you, when you're doing archery, doing it once a week,
you're not going to improve.
You're not going to do anything. Yeah, you'll shoot a few
consistent.
arrows, but you can be consistent weekly. But if you're not practicing daily, some would argue, you're gonna hit a plateau where you're thinking, oh, I'm not feeling this. I'm not. I'm having a bad day. My arrows are going all over the place. All right, and that could be with even something like your Wing Chun. If you are learning something in lesson, and you come home and you wait till the next lesson, the chances are you're not gonna really polish what you've learned, and therefore it wouldn't be right for you to move on and get to where you could do quicker if you were consistent.
Yeah.
Some people, like I said to you, they want to get there quick and a lot of energy. Oh yeah, we're going to do it. And they're there for the first lesson, and they'll knacker themselves out. And next day they wake up and their body's in pain. Yeah. And you're like, because you haven't trained yourself.
Yeah.
You have to get past that pain, and then you have to be consistent in doing so. So this applies to anything. I know I've spoke about it in the realm of work, but it could be day-to-day work with the home education that we do, or with just a view that you have in life to say, what is your standard? It could be a sport that you play. It could be anything that you do in life. It's your standard. So this kind of brings me to now, I think we've got a fairly good understanding of work ethics generally.
Yeah.
But in terms of our religion, which is supposed to be, again, a lifestyle. You remember I gave the example of Salah, right? So it's part of your life. It's not like a religion where you do things because you do things. It's part of your life. So it's part of you. That's how it's supposed to be, okay?
Yeah.
Work ethics in Islam, how important do you think that is for Muslims?
I'm guessing it's very important. Yeah, I think it's very important. I mean, I don't know specifically what was. I think like punctuality was a big thing, wasn't it? Probably. You have to be very like on time, especially with your salahs and stuff. You know.
Okay, good example.
You know.
But yeah, no, punctuality, I think, not just with salahs, I think generally it shows that you should take time seriously. I know there's verses in the Quran, correct me if I'm wrong, that Allah swears by time.
Yeah.
You know, so time is important. That is 100%. Do you find, I don't know if you find, but some people who have certain lazy characteristics, I'm going to go with people who I think have poor work ethic. Again, these are my opinions, all right?
Yeah.
So I give you, I think I'll give you about 3 examples. Punctuality is one of them, laziness, and people who complain, all right? Now, I find that if I meet people like that and I get into some conversation as to, listen, come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. Or like sort it out kind of a thing.
Yeah.
They often hide behind the fact that it's qadr.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's fate that I'm in.
It's meant to happen.
It's meant to happen.
Okay, yeah.
All right. And I can see, or not I can see, but you get a sense that, are they really trying?
No,
Everyone has their limitations. You know, my limitations could be less than yours.
Mm-hmm.
So I shouldn't really look at your life through my eyes. I need to understand you and say, is that person really pushing themselves, knowing your makeup, your genetic makeup, right? Are you generally a lazy kind of person? Can you put things off? Can you procrastinate?
Mm-hmm.
And do you end up complaining a lot? So if you fall into those traps and you say to me, my brother, listen, I'm trying, it's qadr though, and I can't do this and I can't do that, and I'm having this problem, and maybe I've got seher, and maybe it's and you're like, wow, subhanallah. Yeah. But I like, for me, it's like a complete turn off. Like, I don't say these things do not exist 100%, but the interpretation in my eyes is upside down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Work in our deen can, and some scholars argue is, if it's with the right intention, ibadah, an act of worship. So you wake up in the morning with the intention, Ya Allah, I'm going to go and find my rizq or get my rizq so that I can feed my family, halal. Yeah. Your act or your day is now in a day of worship. You've
the intention is
you've made the intention, but because Allah says your rizq is written, it's done. All right. And if we go with the intention that Allah is the true provider, and we always have that, because obviously as human beings we need to be reminded. Yeah. Sometimes we believe we get somewhere with our own efforts, which can take you down a slippery slope. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's important to realize that if you do it with the right intention, then work is ibadah.
Okay.
So Allah gives you the opportunity to say, look, you get rewarded as physically ibadah through your salahs, but also that 8 hours that you slog in, or 9 hours or 10 hours or whatever it is that you do with that right intention, you're in an act of worship. So you've got many opportunities through the day to be getting rewarded for an act of worship, which people would think, well, I'm just working. But with the intention, it makes that bit difference. All right. So obviously the intention is you're doing it because you know that Allah's written your rizq from that. Okay.
Yeah.
We agree that as Muslims, Allah's the sustainer of every creature. So that tells us that when we look at the animal kingdom, for example, I think it's an ayah in the Quran. Yeah.
Okay.
That it loosely translated. It says, if they truly trust in Allah. Okay. So if they truly trust the tawakkul, if they truly believe in Allah and trust in Allah, then Allah will provide for you as He provides for the birds. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that's a beautiful statement. All right. And I'm sure many people have heard this many times. But do we really ponder over these things? Like, you wake up in the morning, all right? Hayya al-salah, yeah?
Yeah.
Hayya al-falah. So you're hearing the adhan in the morning, and just before the adhan, you may even hear the birds, yeah?
Yeah.
So the birds are getting ready for what? Going out, getting their rizq which Allah's promised them. You will never find their rizq being given to them in the nest. Allah demands or asks or tells you that there is an equation to this. And that equation is you need to put in some effort. So when you meet people and they're like, oh, bro, it's Qadr Allah. Did you really put in the effort? And that's a reminder for myself, first and foremost.
Yeah.
So Allah says that this is true tawakkul in understanding how work should be and how ethical it should be. So we should not be the kind of people that sit in coffee shops, having coffee one after another, watching time go by, complaining, being lazy, blaming other people for our position, and more importantly, blaming Allah to say this is His qadr, that I'm doing what I'm doing. And so when you see these uplifting videos and the new year and, you know, I'm going to change myself, I'm going to be a better person. And in your young years, you've said, I've heard this quite a lot of times and it always tends to be the same thing. It's because I don't understand why people set themselves up this way. Sort yourselves out in the sense that what it is that you want to do, make that change, be that change, and realize that there's everything you do, if you make it with the right intention and you do it ethically, then Allah is rewarding you.
It's an act of ibadah then.
Yeah, so like, for example, as me as an employer, right? Actually, let's take an employee. Let's say you work for me.
Yeah.
I take you on board and you're contracted to work for me for a particular amount of hours, all right?
Okay.
You should, in yourself, be able to give me 100% of your ability to your job.
Okay.
That's ethical, all right? What you find is that nowadays, and again, I'm not
categorizing people?
I'm not categorizing, yeah. You find people trying to cut corners. They want to do the minimum amount of work, but reap the benefits of what it is that they do. And scholars would argue that that's not halal. Yeah. You've agreed to do something. You need to do something and then accept your risk.
Yeah.
And inshallah, that risk will be halal for you. So that my vent out with people with poor work ethics is to say that don't take shortcuts. Fix up. Look at things around you. Stop blaming your environment, your situation, and use your blessing that Allah gives you every single day. That when we wake up and we think, what is it today? What value can I add to myself today? And think about it. If you changed yourself 1% a day, it's 365% in a year. All right. You just do one little change and you're consistent. That's it. Allah says, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but Allah loves those who do things that may be small.
Yeah.
I'll come to that one. That do things small but are consistent. You don't need to move mountains, and you just do it once, and you're like, that's it, I'm done. If you churn away at it daily and you're consistent, you're beloved to Allah, and that's where we want to be, right? Now, so but that's as an employee. Quickly as an employer, you're proper looking at the time, aren't you? So you know, so in a roundabout way, so we're saying that if we look at work as ibadah, and that we owe an amana to the person we're working with because we should have good ethics and morals in order to do so. God in its sense, or Allah in itself, is watching me, so I shouldn't take shortcuts. I should be loyal to what I'm doing and my craft that I'm doing, and therefore my risk and my earnings, inshallah, will be halal. So everything has a chain. Everything comes round back again. So when we try to outsmart, or we thinking we're doing things and we get some gain out of it. Some people argue, look, people go to work and they may use the business phone, the work phone. Sometimes, you know what, subhanallah, scholars will say that's not right, because why are you using their phone at their time? Use your phone at your time when it's break time. And it could be something small and innocent.
Yeah.
But do we take it seriously? And someone who's strong in terms of their ethics would be able to remind us to say this is wrong. It reminds me of a hadith. Is it a hadith? It's a story about Ali Rajin Anhu.
Okay.
I think I said this to you before.
It's the candle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for those of you, I'm not sure where I've heard this, but there was this story about Imam Ali was sitting. This is when he was Khalifa. So he's sitting, working in his home, working some books about the Bayt al-Mal. He's doing something with, and so he has a candle lit. And then a person or a couple of people turn up and they want to have a conversation. and they enter, and then he says to them, what you want to talk to me about, and then what you want to talk to me about, is it to do with is it public? Is it to do with the ummah? Is it some personal thing that you want to speak to me about? And they said it's something personal. So he blew out that candle. He then lit another candle. And so the men started looking at each other. What's that about? So they asked him, why did you blow out that candle? And he goes, this candle was used by the Bayt al-Mal. So this is public property. Because your conversation to me is nothing to do with the public, or the people, is to do with yourself, it's wrong of me to use that candlelight to hear and see your problem. Wow. Yeah. That's a candle. But this is how strong in terms of ethics and morals that these people were, and again, these little episodes are pure reminders for us to say, what was our tradition? How did the Muslims of the past act, behave, and were socially accepted within the Muslim world and known for their character and reputation? And where have we come today? What are we known for? What work are we involved in? Are we trying to think about the money and not think about the work? Are we loyal to our craft? Are we looking to better ourselves? And unfortunately, it's a sad reality. And like I thought I'd use this opportunity in terms of this whole new decade thing to kind of really reflect the fact that we all need to take a deep look within ourselves and think there's parts of us which we need to polish, and we need to polish on a daily basis. What happens when you don't dust in a certain area over a period of time?
Gets dusty.
Gets dusty again. You need to constantly polish. Yeah. And the fact is that, if you stop and you think you have done it, then you will find that people who, like, again, it was, I'll give you a Wing Chun example. Ip Chun, or the sons of Ip Man. So you got Ip Chung and Ip Chin, yeah? They're now in their 80s or 90s probably. They still practice their craft, not because they're training for fighting. The intention has changed more for health benefits, but they still practice. They're not sitting there thinking, we're older now, we're this and that. It's every day they've done it. Yeah, they've obviously reaped its reward from it, but they are still saying that, what's your excuse?
Yeah.
We've been doing it. What's your excuse? It's things like where you hear scholars say, take yourself to account before you. I think it's a verse from the Quran, or again, it's from our tradition where we're told to take care and take account of ourselves before we take an account of. And when we look at our life and just this small glimpse of ethics and morals, we can all answer that question ourselves and be loyal to ourselves and think yes, no, whatever that answer may be. But to listen to that voice and think, what better changes can I do? Okay. Now, in our tradition, can you think of any examples? Like I'll give you an example, like with the birds.
Yeah.
Can you think of anything else that where you've thought that, this, Allah could have done this, but someone or a person or a prophet needed to do something in order for the act to actually happen? Is there anything that comes to mind?
Not really. Can't think of anything.
Story of Musa?
What's wrong? Oh, wait, is it when like Allah said that you have to speak to Pharaoh and he's gonna deny, he's not gonna listen to you, so he's already given him the outcome, but you still have to do it? Is that what he's talking about?
That's not the example I'm thinking of.
I don't know. Maybe when he does a stick thing? Yeah,
so the staff thing. So the thing I want to say across is, here he leads his people. Okay, you have to picture it, right? So you're there. Let's say you put yourself there, right? And what you see in front of you is the Red Sea. What you see behind you is the army of Pharaoh, and you're in the middle. And at that time, you're thinking, what's going to happen? Are we told to jump into the sea? Are we going to die? We're going to die either way. We jump into the sea, we die. We stay here, we're going to die. What do we do? And that time, and it's subhanAllah, if you study the Quran and the stories, you always see that your tawakkul, your trust is always at that point where you think, oh my God, what's going to happen? All right. And that's when Allah's mercy comes. All right. And so in this example, when Musa alayhi salam tells his people to be patient, my God will, find a way, and then Allah asks him, right, Musa, take your staff and hit the water. Now my job starts. Yeah. So then obviously the water parts and they walk through. Now, could Allah just open up the sea?
Yeah.
Right. But he wanted some effort to be done.
Yeah.
Right. Now that's an example that even as something small as that, where Allah could have just done it and the miracle happened, Allah still said, pick that staff up and just smack the water.
Yeah.
All right. Maryam al-Islam.
Mm-hmm.
She was, when she left and she was having her labor pains, she was sitting under a date palm tree.
Yeah.
Do you know that story?
Yeah. Like, Allah told her to to eat the dates or something. Yeah.
Right. So she's in labor pain, all right, and she needs energy. So now she hears a voice and it's told for her to shake the tree.
All right. Yeah.
She shakes the tree, dates fall, she eats. Now, could those dates have just fallen?
Yep.
Of course. But some effort was required.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, these are deep for people who want it to take it that way. But in it are examples of looking at a situation, saying, look, even your creator, look, the birds need to leave their nests to find the rizq. It's not going to fall in your lap. So we've got to stop being lazy, blaming Qadr, blaming everyone around us apart from ourselves. We need to take accountability. All right. And then we need to do the best possible thing we can in order to say, right, I have now gone out and done my best. Now I put tawakkul into Allah. And that brings me to the camel.
Okay.
Right. So someone came to the Prophet with a camel and says, shall I just leave it here? Will Allah take care of it? The Prophet says, no, tie it up. Then put your trust into Allah. So you do your thing. Do your thing, and then after that, put your tawakkul into Allah. So recap. What have we learnt today?
Okay, so we're doing about the work ethics then. So saying that right at the beginning was a New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
So saying that
what would you like the listeners to go away with after listening to this?
So, with like the New Year's thing, it doesn't have to be at the New Year. It can be at any time when you know that there's something like you want to change, do it then. And like, obviously you have to be very consistent about it and you be hard on yourself. So that was about like changing yourself.
Yeah.
And then with the work ethics, you have to obviously, be like accountable for what you do.
Yeah.
And
or you have a standard of behavior that you choose, okay, which can be deemed as right or wrong, but then that's what lets you down or that makes you accomplish the tasks that you set.
Yeah. So yeah, that was work ethics.
Now we've got to wrap it up because we've got to read Maghrib as well. All right, so what we're going to do is, now thank you very much, Iman. That was nicely put. So no, I don't have it. The thing is, that obviously these things are advices to ourselves first and foremost, and to those who may seem some benefit to this kind of nasiha in terms of looking at things. Obviously, my thing here is to dive into things that I think are important, that I think are people don't pay attention to no longer. And so it's just to remind people of certain values that I hold dear to myself. And hopefully, it may spark some conversation with you out there, or even recalibrate, your position to saying, you know what, now I've got to stop looking at a situation a certain way. I've just got to be consistent in what I do, and know that if you're doing what you're doing, and you do it with the right intention, then inshallah Allah will put barakah into it, and inshallah you guys will be blessed in what you do. Iman, I remember you telling me a hadith once. All right. And it's just to reciprocate what we've been talking about. So you can't remember it, can you? Because you used to say it to me off memory.
I can't remember it.
Does this bring back any memories?
Yeah.
إن الله يحب أحدكم إذا عمل عملا أن يتقنه.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the hadith, which translated, again, my loosely translation is, Allah loves the one who does things to their best ability. Who does things to their best ability. All right. So we all have our abilities, and if we do it to the best of our ability, that hadith says Allah loves those who do it to the best of ability. You don't cut corners, you do it to the best of your ability. All right. So you've got to remember that one again. So what we're going to do in ending this, Iman.
Yep.
Usually I'll get you to do a quiz,
Right.
but this time I'll get you to quiz me.
Good.
All right. So I found this thing. It's a bit of humor again. Like to have a bit of humor on the show, and it's whether to see if I have a good work ethic. All right. So you guys can do this at home as well. So all you need to do is just read those questions, click on it, and I think it'll go to the next question.
Okay. So the first one, really easy.
Dun, dun, dun.
Do you procrastinate? So like nobody's business, everyone, every now and again.
Oh, these are choices, yeah?
And yeah, and
Okay.
not really.
So what was the first one, sorry?
So like nobody's business, every
Okay.
now and again, or not really. So do you procrastinate?
Not really.
Okay.
You can challenge me on these if you think I'm lying, but hopefully.
Okay. So how many days a week do you work? 3, 5, or 7?
Do I work? I'm on call
Yeah.
24/7, but
Yeah. So just do 7 days a week.
yeah.
So do you finish what
Hold
you
on.
start?
Yeah. I'm on call most of the days because I have to answer my phone when I get calls.
Right.
So so it's not like I miss my call. So I'd say I'm round the block. So what was it? What was the thing? 7? Yeah, I'd
It's
say
3, 5, or 7.
I'd say 5.
5.
But even though I would say mostly more than that because I'm on call. But okay.
Okay. Okay. Third question. So do you finish what you start? Yes, most of the time, or rarely?
What do you think? Do I finish what I start?
Yeah.
I'd say yeah.
Yeah. So how many hours a day are you on social media? You're not really on social media. Right? It says 1 or less, 2 or 3, 5 or more. So I'm just gonna say. What were you gonna say?
1 or less.
Yeah. Do you work out regularly? Yes, I have my moments, not at all. You
What do
do
you think?
regular, yeah.
You could answer this for me.
Okay, next question. It's taking a while. Okay. Can you work more than 50 minutes without getting distracted? So always, usually, or never?
Yeah, I'd say I don't get distracted easily. If I've set my mind to do something, I get annoyed if I get disturbed. Actually, I need to finish it. Yeah.
Yeah. So 7th question, where do you keep your handwritten notes? In a million notebooks, in an organized folder, on a bunch of post-its? In a folder.
When I write notes, I generally just try to
Yeah.
push
That's
it all
okay.
into my brain, but when I do
Yeah.
write it, it's all organized.
So do you listen to music while you work? Yes or no?
Do I listen to music whilst I work?
Mm.
No, I need peace and quiet.
Mm.
I don't like that distraction.
Do you have an office? Yes, no, the world is my office.
The world is my office. Alhamdulillah.
Do you meet your deadlines? Always, sometimes, or I don't do deadlines?
Do I meet deadlines? No, I meet deadlines.
Okay. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so pick one. Work, play, or rest?
Work, play, or rest?
Mm.
I like to work, I like to play, I like to
Mm.
rest. If I have to pick one,
Yes. Which one do you prefer?
play.
Okay. So do you answer text during work hours? Yes or no?
I have to, yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
You
I do.
have to?
No, I mean, obviously I get text from work, but yeah, if someone was to text me, then yeah, I would, yeah.
So can people rely on you? Yes or no?
Yes, you can rely on me.
Are you late to work a lot? Never.
No.
Yeah, because yeah.
No.
So do you binge watch TV? So I'm binging now. Sure, sometimes or never.
I don't binge watch,
Mhm.
although we have Netflix, and many people have told me that there's many series out there.
Yeah.
I won't lie, I have watched a series, and it's debatable as to whether it's debatable as to what people have been saying. But I did watch The Messiah,
Right.
and that could be an interesting podcast separately because I've seen certain
Yeah.
people do reviews on it. Obviously, this is when and it would be interesting if you want to hear my views on it. Then I could share that with the people out there. However, that's probably been my first thing. And that's only 10 episodes, I think,
Okay.
unless it's successful and they want to make a season 2. So yeah, I binge watched that in 2 days.
So do you just want to?
So that was not, and that's
Okay.
it.
Yeah. See, you're just in that then. Okay. So which is better, winning an award for your work, winning a free vacation? This should won't be easy. Would you not say vacation?
Yeah,
Straight away.
I would say vacation.
Okay.
But then I would think that if I did something well for the work, then it'd be nice to win an award for that as well.
So which one?
I don't know. Okay, fine. It sounds like I'm lazy. Go on then. Yeah, vacation.
So do you do research in your field outside of work?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the importance of trying to be a polymath. I'm a great believer in learning new sets of skills. This would be another episode, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you take care of things quickly? So as fast as I can, depends who's asking, I take my time.
I don't take my time. Do I take things quickly?
Take care of things quickly.
Yeah, so that comes under, are
So
you
do it straight
reliable?
away.
Yeah, I'd say
Okay.
so.
So as fast as I can, yeah?
What was the other one?
Depends who's asking.
Go for that one. Depends who's asking.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm not going to do everything quick, because it's
Yeah.
I may be doing something.
So do or did you complete extra credit in school? So I always try and
Extra credit at school?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Extra credit. I heard this in a movie, like a kids movie. I think it's something to do with like you do something good, so then like you just get extra credit for it, I think.
No.
Okay, so how long is your work day? 1 to 2 hours, 3 to 4 hours, 5 to 6 hours, 7 to 8 hours, 9 to 10 hours, 12 hours.
It's short. With what I do, because obviously we home educate, I take care of my business, and there's other things I do. So I would say between the hours of, what was the second one?
3 to 4.
3 to 4.
Okay. So it says yes, strong work ethic.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it says you have a strong work ethic. Getting the job done right and on time is important to you. Rewards and money are coming your way, and you deserve all of it. You spent your life working hard and trying to get ahead, and it's all paid off.
Hey!
Yay! You got a good work ethic. Well done. There you
I
go.
don't know if that's true, but it was a bit of fun. So thanks, guys. That's the episode done. Thank you for listening. And remember, you can listen to this episode and previous ones through the various podcasting platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and there are many other stuff. I can't even remember now because we keep on uploading different platforms. Or you can head over to our website, which is www.minimalisticmuslim.com. You can take a listen from the embedded player on the website. And don't forget to put in your email address and subscribe, and therefore you'll be notified of any new and upcoming episodes that we'll be releasing. So hope you enjoyed this episode. It's the first one for the year. And so inshallah, we'll be looking to bring you new and improved content in the coming days ahead. And like I said, if there will be a few announcements to be made, but I'll make them in due course, inshallah. So from me and from Iman, assalamu alaikum.
Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.